Drama Dreamers. This is our podcast with admin M, R, and Y for Mitsu no Aji, or Taste of Honey. We're going through episodes 5, 6, and 7 in this podcast, so tune in. It's best to have already watched the episode or be watching it as you listen for full experience.
Mm-hmm.
So, what have we got in this section of the drama?
Well, the biggest thing I remember from episode 5 is that awkward face touch.
Oh, that was awkward, yes.
I'm going to get that later. It'll be on the blog.
And the thing that I actually remember is that weird-ass kiss between the uncle and the niece. I was just like, oh my god, no.
That was in 4.
Oh, okay. It was at the end of 4, early 5.
Yeah, the end of 4, and like that, and then in 5, it was the aftermath of that. Like he had already decided to go to Pittsburgh.
He was just like, hey, I'm going to Pittsburgh, and we're getting divorced. And she was like, no, let me touch your face first.
Yeah, really awkwardly and uncomfortably.
Yeah.
Out at one point too, didn't she? Was that earlier, or was I missed?
When she threw him to the ground, you mean?
Wasn't it because she was begging him not?
Yeah, I thought that wasn't that when he came back to get his stuff.
Yeah. She's done it a couple of times. First time he tried to leave, and I think that was in like episode 4 or something. And she threw him to the ground and was trying to have sex with him, and he was like, no. And then episode 5 was when after he had decided to leave, go ahead and leave, and he had to kiss with the girl, and then he got called away before it went any further. And so,
which I was never so in my life.
Yeah, awkward.
And so.
And it kind of goes to show how she feels about him, because it seemed like, I mean, she was like, hey, go to Pittsburgh, we'll do our own separate thing, and I don't know, it seemed like more of a conquest thing for her rather than a I love you, so let's be married thing.
Mm-hmm. Because he leaves for Pittsburgh in that episode.
Well, she's been
Say again?
Like competitive, like he was more of a conquest than an actual human being for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely get that sense.
Well, when he finally leaves for Pittsburgh in episode 5, she suddenly doesn't care about Naoko at all. Like Naoko says, she's like, after she left for Pittsburgh, she didn't even, she barely acknowledged her existence. Like, it was like everything never happened. It was like they were normal coworkers again. And it's so weird, because like the kind of crazy stuff that she was doing to that girl. And the dude leaves town, she's just satisfied that he wasn't with Naoko. When she thought he was leaving her for Naoko, she was going crazy.
Yeah.
So when he was just leaving for Pittsburgh to work or whatever, she was all cool about everything. It was like a complete switch turned off. Crazy turned off or whatever.
Definitely. And if you're in Pittsburgh and you're still thinking about your niece, you need to get out a little more.
Well, he had a girlfriend. You do find out he had a girlfriend, that white girl he was talking to on the computer, apparently. And 8 years go by. That was a time jump, which I wasn't expecting. I was like, 8 years. Usually you get like 1 or 2, but like 8 years. It's like almost a decade.
They did such a good and interesting passage of time, though. I found that section was so beautifully done because of the way they did the newspaper art and the calendars. I thought that was really, really nice done.
As always, the cinematography continues to be the best thing about this show.
Indeed.
Agreed.
But it drove me crazy. And again, I mentioned this in the last podcast, and I'll mention it again, how she's in medical school, but she cares nothing about medical school because while everybody else is studying for their big medical school exam, she is studying on how to make curry
Yeah.
for him.
And okay,
That's some bullshit. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, middle school costs a lot of money, so that is like doubly crappy. Where your parents are probably paying for your school, and you're gonna hang out and make curry for your uncle who you're in love with.
But it's like blowing me because over that 8-year period, she does become a doctor. Not just a doctor, but a good doctor. I'm just like, how? Was it the fact that he left and you finally
Probably.
had? Yeah, it's like, just move on, girl. So like, I liked after, like right after the time jump, and then he came back and then descended back into the same stuff it was before that. But right after she left. Or he left, and you see her like as a professional with her fiance and her friends and yada yada yada. She seemed like she had finally grown up. So it was like I don't know. It was like that moment when she comes back. I think it was like at the end of episode 5, beginning 6 now, and she came back. Came back, and you see her in her life without him, and it was like so much better. It is like emotionally she was empty or something. I guess you're supposed to think that she, that no matter what, it doesn't matter because she was still in love with him and she didn't have her love by her side. So that's why her life is shit. But I'm just sitting here like, no, it's not.
Actually, your life was a lot worse. Than it was without him, because, hey, look, you've got a medical degree.
Right? She's good at it, Like, okay, maybe you should dump your psycho boyfriend because he has some rapist tendencies.
Yeah, he's got some problems. Like, maybe you could have better taste in men, guys that aren't your relatives or
like
not rapists, but there's plenty of men in the world that are not related to you or rapists, so that is still setting your standards very low by not including them.
Yeah, so like maybe you should dump your boyfriend, maybe you should move out of this psycho hospital with all these crazy people in it. But I mean, other than that, your life is fine.
This is like MTV Hospital, like what the who did they freaking hire? Where every person is insane. It's ridiculous.
Even the side characters. I thought it would miss the side characters and it would just be focused on the main 4 or whatever. But nope.
Yeah, like, better not get on their bad side or else you're going to be missing a liver.
Like, what in the world?
Well, you saw her ex-boyfriend poison the guy. I'm probably giving away a little bit too early, and I'm sorry, but that was in like episode 6 where the boyfriend found out that the unlovable, and he really went psycho. Like he went.
Oh, he immediately went psycho. Well, see, this is the problem. This is why. Okay, this is one of the problems I can see why, like trying to force yourself to love somebody, because he was in love with her when they were back in medical school, and she didn't give him the time of day. And it's only after her uncle left that she finally, was like, all right, I need to get over him. Let me date some other people. And so she decided to date him. But obviously she didn't like him. And, like, she only even thought of him as a friend. So it's obvious that he felt that the whole time. So on top of his probably already base tendency of being a psychopath.
Yeah, his face.
Not loving him.
Yeah, his face with the tears in his eyes and the psychotic smile is just permanently etched in my brain.
Gosh, I want to Jesus. So on top of that, the whole 8 years of being with somebody who clearly is not romantically interested in you. She's like at the most a friend with you, but y'all are in a relationship and y'all are, living together and stuff. So like that just like ticked him off even more until he finally blew up. Like, cause you could see even before he found out about that he was all insecure and like questioning her all the time. Like the whole interrogation about her doing the operation at the other hospital pissed me off so much. Like I'm not even necessarily for the uncle niece relationship or whatever, but it really pissed me off that he came at her so hard about a secret operation that was assigned to her by her boss.
Yep.
Like, oh man, you didn't tell me, blah blah blah. I was like, it's a secret operation. It's like, what in the world? Like,
Do you know nothing about confidentiality agreements, dude?
It's like, separate your personal life from work. That's what she's doing.
That's what none of these people can do. They don't know how to do this, clearly.
Oh goodness.
You're breaking up hardcore,
Yeah, but like, just the fact that he, not only was he just mad, but like he just was so suspicious. Like, what are you doing? And then he found out it was a secret operation, and he didn't go, oh shit, I was being stupid. Like he didn't do anything. Like, he was angrier because it was a secret operation, and she still didn't tell him. It's like, come on, man, come on. So he was psycho from the beginning. It wasn't even just what happened.
Is that better?
Yes, much better. Yeah, I also find it really humorous, the foreshadowing where Masato comes back from Pittsburgh, and he was like, oh, you guys can work together, and there's not going to be any romantic relationship issues because you're his niece. And I was like, LOL, if only you knew.
Yeah.
That would be accurate for normal people, but not in this hospital.
No.
Oh goodness.
Maybe you want to check your other staff too. I mean,
You know what? Anything goes in this hospital. That one dude's side character who's having an affair with Rai, and like, you know, he's all like, what's her name? Aya's best friend or whatever.
yeah.
I don't know how that happened, but okay. And he's all having an affair with the girl, and the girl. It's like, I don't really care. I don't know. Some of it was played for comedic laughs or whatever. I don't really care.
I
But
think you can get the sense that they were really that good friends. It seems like she just kind of keeps them around, but only because they're like coworkers.
Yeah, I think from her side, yeah, she's not capable of making emotional connections like that. But his side, I think he really cared for her. Because remember when he confronts the dude? I don't know. This is later, though. Maybe we shouldn't talk about it. But like, it felt like that. That from her side, she didn't care, but from his side, he cared a little bit at least. But just the fact that he had the balls to be all up in their relationship, but he's over there cheating on his wife and messing around with another girl in the hospital. Like, what in the world? Stop.
I didn't think doctors had that much time.
Especially when he, right? Especially when he was
That's
like,
what I was thinking.
oh, I'm going to get revenge by, you know, ratting y'all out about the secret operation and stuff. It was just so, who does that?
People in this hospital do that. We specialize in that.
It just pissed me off.
How about
like, Aya
digging into? How about Aya digging into the surgery and calling over to the hospital, pretending that she's the secretary?
Yeah, that was psycho. Also, why in the world did that make you pop up?
That was dirty.
Why did that make her pop up? They were working on a secret operation together. You knew from the jump that he was in town. He was in Japan because he was working on a secret operation. You knew that it was official.
I think what it was,
like he worked on it. She just mad because they were in vicinity of each other.
I thought it was she thought because we're big tell. That's what I think. Whenever they were seen leaving the hotel. Brenda when I spilled and she didn't.
Yeah. So she must have seen that they were getting busy in there.
Personal life and like, yeah.
It's still, I don't know. It's still one of those things where it's just like, okay, wow, y'all are irrational as hell.
There is no
Y'all
rational
need to
bone
get
in
some
any
help.
of their bodies, honestly. Most rationalities is like, hey, I've got a medical exam. I should study for this. I shouldn't be looking at curry recipes. Or, hey, you know what? My husband wants a divorce. I should just leave it be, get divorced, or go through marriage counseling, or something. You know, it's probably not going to help my marriage if I stalk him and try to get him to have sex with me.
Gosh, every time she tried to do that was just so
Within this-
uncomfortable.
The best analogy I think that was in this entire drama was that she kept putting things in a drawer and locking away. This entire movie, just everything. Excuse me. Oh, pardon me. Everybody just kind of takes all their lock away.
You're cutting out a bit.
Yeah. But what happened in episode 6 again? I guess it's after
Episode 6, he comes
they do the
back.
operation. I honestly didn't care about the operation. They tried to throw in some hospital politics stuff with the boss, which I think it was smooth. It didn't focus too much on it that it got annoying.
Mm-hmm.
But I just really didn't care about it. So like I guess the whole point of the extended shot in the operating room was to show how he had become a better surgeon and he was awesome and have her hero worship him again.
Very accurate with this chick. Worship is the word, because she does.
Gosh.
If it wouldn't
So
be
he
completely
becomes
taboo,
a
she would probably kiss
doctor.
the ground he walks on.
I know.
Now
She's
let's face it.
skilled too, like it's that she said. Say again?
Sydney said if it wasn't too taboo, she'd kiss the ground he walked on. I'd let admit.
Yes? I can't hear what you said again, I'm sorry.
I couldn't hear you at all.
Okay, I'm just gonna be. Never mind. For being annoying.
I didn't hear that either.
Yeah, I didn't either. I'm sorry. But yeah, after I said that, I think this is what I was trying to get at. After I said that, I realized, wait a minute, more taboo than incest?
So oddly, there are things that would make me more uncomfortable than the incest in this story. And I'm really mad about that.
Like psychotic tendencies. Yeah, that makes me a little more uncomfortable.
Oh goodness! Like I just, it's so weird. God. Okay, so yeah, I think we talked about it. Was that episode 9 that he that the boyfriend or the fiance pops off and decides to? No, the first thing that happens is that he finds out. Rai comes over and they talk about, and she talks to Naoko about it, and he walks in the house and overhears it. So he finds out that she is in love with her uncle, whatever. And then he gets all mad and then decides to break up with her without listening to anything she says. And
understandably,
and then
that's pretty gross and
true. But she was trying to tell him like that was in the past. I'm not in love with him anymore. I've cleaned up those feelings, even though she really hasn't. But she was saying it, you know. So it's like he was just like, no, I don't care. You've been deceiving me for 8 years, and he leaves. And then he who is it? Aya finds out about him finding out whatever, like because he comes to talk to her. And she decides to stir the pot. because she's crazy.
Because she
And she
feeds
just
off of
starts,
drama. It's her
yeah,
food source.
gosh. And she starts insinuating they're together, that they must have met. They probably even met over these 8 years secretly. Like, she started saying all kinds of shit, stirring that dude up, and then she's doing her crocodile tear routine and starts crying. And then
She's
they
a
have
master of
sex.
that too.
And I was like, okay. Are they having sex? I was feeling that vibe, and then he's like slowly moving closer, and they were like comforting each other in their, I guess, sorrow at being in love with people who are in love with their family relations.
They should start a support group.
Yeah.
I'm psychotic, and my fiance or ex-husband loves a relative. Support group. They have T-shirts too.
I'm in love with an incestuous man.
Watch, it'll be a Tumblr blog.
Anyway, so they have sex, which I was just like, okay, well, whatever. Why don't you guys love each other? Why don't you hook up? Let's move on.
And then she's probably like, "Nope, you're
They couldn't
crazy."
handle
Bye.
crazy in the same room.
You know,
They couldn't
it's
handle
so
that
weird
much crazy in
because
the same room.
he was a touch crazier than her, which is like surprising because I thought nobody could be as
It
crazy
is
as
a skill
I am.
set. It is a skill set.
I was like, oh, what, he's really actually crazier than her? He's more, well, okay, I'll say he's more chaotic and out of
Yes.
control than I. I think they have the same amount of crazy, but she's just more in control of herself. And she has boundaries. Like, I acknowledge that she has that boundary where she's not going to hurt a patient. And she was just, like, so disgusted with him for hurting a patient.
That's
for his
later on,
revenge.
though.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, so they bang, and she concocts this plan to, because she has this thing, she likes to manipulate people, using her tears, using her fakeness.
Loves
So
it.
yeah, so she's trying to manipulate other people into breaking them up, because she clearly can't. I mean, all the crying and kneeling and awkward
She doesn't
face
like to
touch
get her hands
is
dirty.
not going to make them break up. God, that awkward
She's
face.
very passive aggressive and doesn't like to get her hands dirty with things. She'd rather have somebody else cause the chaos.
Yeah. But, yeah.
I think that covers the episodes, though, right?
Yeah, I think up until, I feel like I mean nothing else really happens that's important in there. They have like, I guess Naoko and Masto have like these really slightly awkward conversations where they just aggressively ignore the elephant in the room being
Maybe we say more.
like, let's pretend like it's not happening. They try to do normal stuff
And
like
passionate
just
makeout
be-
session. Ew.
yeah, let's just be normal coworkers, and then it just like slowly descends into not normal coworkers.
Normal family members make out with each other, right? Right?
And then she asks, and she tries to be all cool about it. Like, you know, okay, we've gotten to a place where we can be cool with each other, right? Not really, but okay. And then she goes, so what was up with that kiss 8 years ago? And just casually drops it in the diner. You just go,
Oh,
and then he
man.
says, what are you
If only I could have been a fly in the wall in that diner.
He was like, I did it because you're pretty.
Yeah. I mean, that's normal, right? You know, you make out with your family members that are pretty,
Oh,
and
gosh.
yeah, it just doesn't everyone do that, really?
Oh. And then she goes, if you hadn't gotten called away for a patient, would you have stayed? And he goes, I wouldn't have been able to leave.
Ew.
Oh, saved by the call.
Oh dear.
Yeah, so that was the most significant part of like 5, 6, and 7, I think.
Yeah, it pretty much covers the highlights, I think.
Yeah.
You have anything to add,
If I can be heard, no, I don't.
Yeah,
Oh,
you can.
yes, you can. That was perfectly clear. All right, I guess that wraps up 5, 6, and 7. Stay tuned for 8, 9, and 10.
Alrighty. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.